Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Lost in Criterion. I'm John Patrick Owatari Dorgan, and with me is a man whose job in a hotel has never once involved Nazis.
I can't certifiably say that. I am the Adam Glass.
No Nazis.
No Nazis. I've never been a night porter, strictly speaking, though, so maybe hotels at night are a different animal.
There's lots of Nazis everywhere.
Probably. Nazis and prostitutes. Actually, fun fact, since I mentioned prostitutes there.
Where is this going to go, Adam?
Nothing to do with this movie, but there was a wedding at the hotel I work at a few weeks ago, wherein a woman of the night came into the wedding reception and was soliciting Johns.
Wow. That's
on
amazing.
The dance floor. It was wonderful.
That is amazing.
Anyway, this week we were talking about The Night Porter, 1974 Nazi-exploitation film. No, calling it Nazi-exploitation isn't really... It's a weird movie. But it is, as I said, 1974 Italian, though in English, from Italian director Liliana Cavini. Possibly our first female director. I really think it is.
I think you're right.
Which... This being number 59 in the series means the Criterion Collection really bad at getting ladies in.
Yes, it is not lady-friendly.
No. Though, I mean, I guess you could argue that the film industry in general
is not lady-friendly.
Yeah, it's not friendly to female directors, at least. But yeah. Anyway, this is the movie that propelled Cavani to international renown. Ebert, when it came out, gave it a 1 star out of 4.
And understandably so.
Yes. He described it thusly, and since his opinion is fairly close to mine, I will start it off with this. The Night Porter is as nasty as it is lubricious. A despicable attempt to titillate us by exploiting memories of persecution and suffering. It is, I know how obscene this sounds, Nazi chic. It's been taken seriously in some circles, mostly by critics agile enough to stand on their heads while describing 180-degree turns in order to interpret this trash as really meaningful.
I can't argue with him.
I can't argue with him either. This movie is... It came out around the same time as Salò,
yes.
And in the same schools as Salò, being an Italian art film. Salò at least was revulsive enough not to bore me.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so here's the thing: is in the end, this movie and Salò have the same purported aim, which is to get into the eccentricities and absurdities of fascist regimes, right?
I suppose, yes.
Both of them fail. In that both of them are nearly unwatchable. Salò for totally different reasons.
Yes.
This one, that theme, I don't know, man. You can pick up on that theme in here. But that's not the theme I walk away with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This movie is, first of all, very boring.
Yeah, I think the worst thing a controversial film can do is bore me to the point where I'm not really paying attention within the first half hour.
I think it's an important anecdote that we should mention. That both you and that you had to go look up the final scene because we both zoned out and didn't know what happened.
Yes. I just rewatched the final scene right before recording this, just to try and remember exactly how it played out.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention anymore. By that final scene.
I think as a little microcosm of what Ebert was talking about, it's important to note two of the 5 comments on the Criterion essay on the website about this movie. a guy named Chillbear in 2009 said, "Very, very few people get this really complicated film. Then again, most people live mind-numbingly boring and utterly pedestrian lives, titillated only by apparent transgressions of social order, and profoundly uncomfortable with anything remotely resembling the human condition in its glorious variety. Funny how impossible fantasy in 1974 turns into women auditioning to be emotionally and physically humiliated on camera." Edwin, 2 years later, says, "Wow, Chillbear is insufferable."
Yeah, I was like, and then Chillbear went into his second year of philosophy major. Yes. Oh, God. Yeah, that's great. That is a great thing. No, I can't. Wow, no.
Yeah. So this movie epitomizes, and I admit, maybe there's something I'm not getting, and there's a lot of subtle emotional stuff, even in the start.
I'm not sure there is.
Even in the part where I was bored. That I guess I can argue.
That's like yeah. To me, I don't think the term Nazi exploitation is that far off.
Yeah.
It'd be more. There is probably a better way to describe that concept.
Yeah.
But it is, in my mind.
This movie,
we're taking a horrible, horrible thing that happened in the history of our world.
Yes.
And then trying to just use that as a tool for making impactful statements.
Yes. And the impactful statements are what I have the problem with. This movie, to me, epitomizes my problem with the worst of modern art. And I think in the 70s, the worst of modern art was really at its peak. But it's a mentality.
80s. Don't forget the 80s.
It's a mentality that still holds true to a lot of art students. I mean, especially first-year art students. But this masturbatory, provocative just to be provocative mentality.
Yes, I agree.
And I cannot stand that. Ostensibly, one of the themes of this movie is the inescapability of the past. So
basically, I hate anybody who uses that as a theme, by the way.
People in circles and circles and circles, everything comes back.
Because that is first-year philosophy and art class.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
So if the point is the inescapability of the past, our premise is then that we need to feel sympathy, or at least pity, for the main character, Max, the SS official, who ran a concentration camp, murdered everyone, is now involved in a cabal trying to keep himself from being arrested, is completely unrepentant, murdered one of the currently alive witnesses to what he'd done.
And who was actually a collaborator anyway.
Yeah. Actively murdered one. Another collaborator, the dancer, he just spends his interaction with him recreating the events of the camp. And then he was in a relationship at a concentration camp with a teenage girl whom he used his position of power to get into a sexual relationship with. And now meeting her again 13 years later, reestablishes that relationship in the same sexual dominant scene. And
we're supposed to want to see this character, apparently.
Yeah, that it's absurd to think that I should in any way feel pity or sympathy for Max.
And it's weird because he has acted in a way that implies we should.
Yeah, exactly.
Throughout the entire film, we watch him knit his brows and seem so torn, and then he goes on to emotionally rape this lady, this girl again.
Yeah, he does nothing to seek redemption, and if our point is that he's trapped in this...
Right, he should be trying to redeem himself and fail. But instead, he just does exactly what he did last time.
Yeah.
Which is be
she needs help.
A sadistic asshole.
She needs help. He needs help. He needs to be caught.
No, yeah, the help he needs is well established through the Nuremberg trials, okay? But, the help she needs is legitimate psychological help.
Yes,
to treat her Stockholm syndrome.
Yes. And it's ridiculous, and it's ridiculous how she falls back. They see each other when she checks in, and he gets into it, and finally he confronts her and he beats the crap out of her, shouting, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" She tries to escape the room that he's in. He stops her, then they embrace, then they kiss, then they have sex.
Yeah, it's absurd. Now, mind you, I don't know anybody with Stockholm Syndrome, so maybe it's not. My only other reference for Stockholm Syndrome is that one of those James Bond movies.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, Liliana Cavini being our first female director, from what I've read about her, she never claimed to be a feminist director in any sense of the word, and that's clear here. But, this being the first movie in the Criterion Collection to come out, for us to come to, and because we're watching them in the order of their Criterion release, it means it's the first one really that Criterion released. To have it be this,
yeah, I would have really
so ridiculously
wished they had found a better first example of a female director. Would have been nice. Yeah. It would have been nice if it was something that I respected. I mean, like, it's, I don't know.
Now, Admittedly, the director has gone on and done other good things. Her most recent major project was the sequel to The Talented Mr. Ripley that starred John Malkovich.
I did not know that there was a sequel to The Talented Mr. Ripley.
You should see it.
Is it called The Talented Mr. Ripley 2?
No, it is not. But look up John Malkovich and find the movie. Okay. I can't remember the title, but find the movie where he's playing Mr. Ripley. Mr. Ripley is in the title. But it's a great movie. It's been a long time since I've seen that, and it's a great movie because John Malkovich is a great actor. But yeah, it's not like this was a defining moment for her career, but at the same time, this.
Well, actually, it seems that this is really, really early in her career, right?
Yeah, I would think.
So I wonder how she feels about it now.
I don't.
It would be.
Because I don't.
No, I'd be fascinated to know what she thinks.
Yeah, but I don't want to risk giving her the opportunity to defend this.
No. I mean, I just like This seems like the kind of film that maybe later she goes, "Oh God, why did I do that?" or something. You know what I mean? Because it has that sort of like, I'm a first year student in art school kind of feel to it. But I don't know I don't know. How do we talk about a movie that we just generally did not really care about or like?
Well, that's again the thing. Salo we hated, and we still managed to talk about for an hour because it had something going
on. His cabal of people trying to keep him out of jail are weird. Yes. And I do not understand some of them.
I don't understand how they exist as a group.
Right. And I don't understand, we've got the chef, somehow a collaborator in this organization, even though I can't see any reason why he would help them.
Seems like everyone at the hotel at night.
Right. What the heck? Okay, I have a serious question because I zoned out a little bit. Is every single person who works at the hotel in this organization?
It seems
because the other two porters,
they don't all work there.
Yeah, I know, but both of
because the dancer doesn't work there.
Right? No, he just stays there or whatever.
Yes,
but no, I'm talking about the old guy and the young guy.
Yeah, Mario, who they kill, or he kills. Max kills.
Both. No, Mario isn't Mario the chef, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm talking about the young guy he makes go talk to the Countess.
Yeah.
And then also
the Countess knows what's going on.
I know. The Countess is heavily involved somehow.
Yeah.
But, what I'm talking about? The old guy who's, sweeping the floors and stuff. And then the young guy he makes go to the Countess are both involved in some low-level way in the plot. But they're not part of the main organization.
Yeah.
They don't come to the meetings. But they still work for him.
So how is it seems, that everyone in this city knows who Max is, and yet he still hasn't been arrested?
Right. And how is it that everybody is both simultaneously complicit in keeping him out, well, probably from being killed, not out of jail.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not...
the crimes he committed are not going to be jail offenses. Yeah. But let's, keep him out of... from receiving punishment. Everybody's involved in this scheme. But then when he turns against that scheme, rather than just letting him hang from the neck until dead, which is what will happen without their help, they kill him.
Yeah.
But then, like, everybody's involved in the murder. None of them think, oh, but, like, our old comrade, I don't want to kill our old comrade. He's been so good to me, or something. You know what I mean? It's weird. I don't understand anybody's motivation.
Yeah. I mean, and in that regard, I guess there's some amount of theme of the, one thing that Salo tried to do, and I think this movie is also trying to do, is the political continuity between the World War II era and Italy today, or Italy in the 70s.
Yeah.
And the continued... you talked about the continuation of fascism. So I guess the existence of that cabal and the fact that, and even he's worried about the authorities catching him, but it's the cabal that kills him.
Yes.
Because we never see the actual authorities.
Yeah, there are no police, apparently.
Yeah.
Because crimes are committed willy-nilly around this city by them.
Yes.
And apparently, this cabal can get into the archives that the Nuremberg... Well, these are not the Nuremberg trials. I don't know what trials these are at this point. How he managed to get all the way to 1970 without getting caught is amazing. Without going to, like, South America.
Well, 1957 is when this takes place, but yes.
Okay, well, I kind of missed that.
Yeah.
But either way, he makes it this far. Somehow he's dodged all authorities. But they have the ability to just, like, apparently walk into the archives and take stuff. But then, he's the leader. I mean, in theory.
Yeah.
But they could so easily just throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't... I don't understand this movie.
If they have such control, again, within their own organization and within greater society, they don't need to kill him on the street like they do either.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, they're saying the police, the authorities are coming for you. Yeah, let them come.
Yeah.
He's obviously already a raving lunatic anyway. They're not going to believe the things he says. And they've all been acquitted. Yeah. Every single one of them.
Yeah. And that's another problem I have with this, is that his slip into insanity, and it's well deserved. That's the only punishment he's getting for horrible things he's done.
No, and then we also unfortunately see her get punished, basically in the same way. Where's the lesson or like morality in that?
Yeah.
It doesn't teach us anything when she becomes the brunt of his insanity and then gets murdered on the street.
And in that regard, I don't need a movie to try and teach me something. I know,
but if you're going to make a movie about these kind of topics...
I need a 2-hour narrative to have a point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was the word I'm looking for. I don't see what I'm getting out of that story. If, like, we watch this woman get abused and then murdered, and we watch this man go insane, who deserves to be insane and dead.
Yes.
And then he's killed rather than killed by the rightful ministers of justice, is killed by his own cabal of co-conspirators who really have no need to do it. And it doesn't. None of it makes any sense. It drives me crazy. Because I can't get over the fact that, like, I keep coming back to, like, trying to understand what any character's motivations are.
Yeah.
Like, his cabal has no reason to help him. They've all been acquitted. Other than the fact that maybe they like him. But, do you kill people you like?
Well, they killed Mario.
Well, he killed Mario.
Yeah, he killed Mario.
Because he's a madman. Whatever. And then there's nearly naked ballet dancing.
Yes.
Which is really upsetting.
Well, everything...
So is he a prisoner?
I think he's supposed to be a prisoner in the same way that she was a prisoner.
So they keep him around.
Yeah.
Who is obviously
They allow him
a
to
problem.
exist. Yeah.
In the same way that she is, right? Because he's as much of a risk as she is, right? He was made to perform ballet in the near nude for a bunch of Nazis in a prison camp. I can't imagine a better witness.
Exactly.
So why is he allowed to continue, and then, not only that, allowed to exist, but allowed to continue in exactly the same role he was in during the war?
Yeah.
With no, like, Max and him still have the exact same association they did, which I guess gets into the whole like, not very well developed point of this film, which is, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
But why does the Cabal allow this to continue if they're so against her? Now, mind you, she was a teenage girl who he raped, but this was a grown man that they emotionally traumatized. I assume naked ballet in front of a bunch of Nazis with guns is some sort of emotional
considering
trauma.
The fact that he seems to still enjoy doing that.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's clearly a post-traumatic stress situation.
Right, and so, like, they allow him to continue to exist and continue in this function, but not her.
Yeah.
And the only reason...
When it seems like they can kill anyone with impunity, why have they allowed all of these people to still be alive?
Well, yeah. And
is a problem with their motivations.
And then I like how they can take the documents out of the archive, use them in their little mock trial, then burn them, and somehow everything's fixed?
Yes.
Like, there are no transcripts, there are no...
Well, maybe
copies?
they're stolen the transcripts too.
Well, but that's assuming a lot about the universe.
Yeah.
That, like, he's able to walk in and steal every document of a concentration camp?
Yes.
Like, we're talking... That's a lot of paperwork. And now, mind you, he seems to have, as the leader of this concentration camp, killed everyone. But I find that hard to believe, too. That there's, like, 3 witnesses total. That's all weird. The whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just,
the whole thing
it's hard to understand. Like we talked about before we started the podcast, I'm still processing because I watched it this afternoon.
Yeah.
I formulated an opinion, but I haven't assembled all the evidence for that opinion.
Exactly. You know, and I really... And again, you know, I got Sallow. I knew what was going on.
Yeah, I understood what was going on and why it was going on. I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah. And I understood the point of the movie.
Yeah.
At least I feel like
I
understood a point of the movie.
The thing is if you're going to make a movie about the excesses of Nazism, or in that situation, Italian fascism, at least Sallow does that.
Yes.
At the end...
That. And Sallow...
By the end,
Solo's big screw you to the audience for still watching this, made sense.
Yeah.
It was established. It was okay. You know, I think it was excessive before. We didn't need to fly quite so high before he cut us down with that last sequence. Right. But you know, this there's no... Yeah, there's no twist. There's no punch. There's nothing. It's the story of a sad little man who should have been dead a long time ago, who is unrepentant for the myriad of crimes he's done, and the woman who he has forced into loving him through psychological abuse. The only sadness in this movie is that she gets shot too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is like, weirdly enough, in this story, in this universe, there is the potential to tell a really interesting story. But that is not done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's weird in that, like, to my mind, like, we pick up, the creator picks a bunch of themes, doesn't do any of them particularly well, but could have done any one of them fairly well. Although, again, I don't like history repeats itself as a theme in general.
Yeah.
But, like, the whole, like, continuation of Nazism into current political climates could have been a really interesting movie. It did not require that poor young lady at all to tell that story. But you could have done it. It would have been really interesting. But instead we get into this, like, we talk about the continuation of Nazism into current politics is a theme, but at the same time, it's not a very strong theme. Like, we see them murdering with impunity, but we don't see any end result of that. You know what I mean? That's not tied up at the end. You know, there's in either a positive or a negative way. It sort of tapers off with a final murder, and that's it. And then our history repeats itself is fairly thoroughly explored in a juvenile sort of way.
Yeah.
Are there any other themes?
I don't know. I hate narratives where the main characters die at the end instead of
resolve
something or resolving their issues or anything.
Yeah.
The narrative just stops and it's cut.
Well,
down.
yeah, it is like,
you know, maybe that's some greater point that I'm missing.
No, you're not missing a point. I don't have a way to end this story.
Yeah.
So we're going to shoot them now.
But there's so clearly a way to end the story, and that's to have anyone, show remorse.
He should. Well, or you just have him stand trial and be convicted. End of story.
Hell, I'd live with just him being arrested.
Yeah, I could deal with it, and we just know that he's going to be convicted.
Yeah, because it's obvious. It's obvious that once he's arrested, he'll have to be convicted.
Right.
But yeah,
I don't know. And then they get into this. Their whole mock trial system was upsetting and a little bit to me. Like, that we're going to run a mock trial where you will learn, like, how well you can defend yourself against these accusations. And you would think, and the way they talk acts as though somehow they have learned. Like, their words imply that they have learned something from the experience about themselves and their involvement. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that they have grown from it. But as it turns out, they've gained nothing from that experience. You know what I mean? Like, the way, especially that one, I forget the character's name, the one who's really in charge of this cabal rather than Max.
Yeah.
Talks like, once you go through this, you'll have gotten rid of your guilt complex about these experiences, and you'll be able to move on. And
yeah, but he deserves to have a guilt complex.
Well, he deserves to have a guilt complex, but also their trial system does not seem to in any way have confronted them with the actual nature of what they've done, because they continue to do that to the present day.
Exactly.
Like, it'd be one thing if we see that they are doing these trials and they've reformed themselves. They said, okay, well, we did these horrible things, and now we've moved on. But they haven't. They're just the same bad people they were before. Yeah. Which means, why do they need to go through this trial system at all?
Yeah. Referring to how he feels as a guilt complex is what really gets me, because he doesn't have a guilt complex. He's just guilty.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, exactly. Well, referring to any of them as having a guilt complex is absurd. Yes. Yeah, it's like implying that you can have a complex about something you actually did.
A guilt complex is when you feel guilty for something that wasn't actually your fault.
Yeah, especially something that's out of your power or something, you know?
Yes.
Like, it is possible, I would suppose, for other people involved in war to have a guilt complex, but certainly not the leader of a concentration camp.
No, not at all. Oh, so we haven't talked about this movie's most famous scene yet.
The dancing. Mm-hmm. What's the name of the song? I forget. Oh, let me go read it.
Oh, I can't remember that. It's some sad German pop song.
Yeah, something. No, it is. I mean, it's a really weird song, and for it's
not pop in the way we think of pop, but it's
yeah, like it's a really weird song.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it's really important what the song is, and the fact that, and yeah. Anyway, yes. So our main character, our female lead, rather, she is made to dance in whiteface, and everyone's dressed as a clown, even some of the SS people. Little else, she has 3/4 of an SS uniform on, but she is topless besides the suspenders. And she dances, and again, the actress was 28 in this movie. We never get really an age for her character.
She's 13, or she is a teenager in the concentration camp. We know that. So he
refers to her as my little girl, as he's recounting this story repeatedly to the Countess.
Yeah, and so theoretically she is...
Yes, and this is also his recounting of why he's in love with her, too. Because he forced her to dance topless to entertain everyone. And everyone just looks so sad through the whole thing. And then he presents her with a head of another prisoner, which he talks about being a biblical story, which makes him Herod. Herod showed remorse.
Yeah, well,
if you'll remember.
Yeah. No, like there's a lot of that. Well, that's the kind of like piecemeal allusions that this movie is fraught with, of making us supposedly feel something that's not real. The reason I did go and just now investigate the song.
Yeah.
And what does make it kind of interesting is the lady who sang the song, Marlene Dietrich, was a staunch anti-Nazi who left Germany and became an American citizen in 1939.
Oh, there you go.
Which makes the song
ironic,
but also, like, I think maybe kind of anachronistic. I don't know when that song would have been recorded because I can't find it in here. But
yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I think within the realm of the movie and within the realm of what Max was trying to do by making her sing that song, it's meant to be ironic on his end.
But it doesn't do that, really.
Yeah. I mean, without you learning the context of that song, that's great. The movie does nothing to suggest the context of the song. And in '74, maybe it was common knowledge.
I don't know about
maybe
that.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It seems more like something like this. Seems like again another thing. Like, let's throw this in to screw with our audience because they need to be screwed with.
Yes,
or something.
Yes.
Let's test our audience. Let's see how aware of
if they get like it's a joke or something in this, and also it coming out in '74, I guess I can understand this being more controversial than I feel it. I don't feel it's controversial. I feel it's banal. It's just it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I can see like contextually in 1970 it might be a little bit different.
Yeah,
but
whereas everything of this was still living memory for a lot of people, and it's also it's the generation that didn't live through this is coming into its own in '74. They're at this point they're in their early 30s. So there's that kids don't understand sort of mentality from an older set,
right?
To people who are, but calling it Nazi exploitation or even towards Nazi chic, any other movie that I can think of that could be described in such, at least the Nazis know what they did was wrong, or they're still trying to actively be Nazis. I mean, they're not post-war Nazis, and they knew what they did was wrong. There's some sense of shame.
Right.
These guys have no sense of shame.
Yeah, I mean, like...
They're guilty. They feel guilty. Max feels guilty, obviously, but Max does nothing to alleviate his guilt, because he actually is guilty. But he also does nothing to accept that he's guilty.
Right, yeah, he's not... Yeah, there's no character development.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all stagnant. They're all exactly what they were when they started. And, the only character development is I can't remember her name. What's the female character's name?
Oh, no. I can't remember either. Which is also terrible of both of us.
No, it's not, because...
Lucia.
Okay, yeah. Like, Lucia is the only person who develops negatively, but she does change.
Yeah.
From the beginning. But then again, she's also reverting to a...
Yeah, she's not necessarily changing, she's reverting.
Ugh.
You know. So...
That's all I can say is, ugh.
I really feel like there's something
in... It was recorded somewhere in 1930 or 1931, so it would have been prior.
So, yeah.
So, there would have been a song that was possible for them to like and use, but probably would have been not acceptable considering she was anti-Nazi. Just interesting.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't have a lot
it seems like they would have blacklisted all her music after she left.
Which could be part of why it would appear in such a bawdy show anyway.
Yeah.
But it's also... Who cares?
And maybe it's another knife from Max's end to say, watch what I can do while forcing you to sing this song of someone who's famously against us.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie's crap.
I know, right? Oh.
It's been a while since we've had one that was this... Basically, it's been since Solo that we've had one that was just this much... Ugh, who cares?
Yeah.
The difference was Solo at least provoked us.
Yeah.
Made us kind of just angry that it exists.
Yeah. This one, I'm not angry at it.
No, I just...
And the fact that I'm not angry at it makes me hate it more than Solo.
Yeah, because it's not... Well, also, Solo, some of the sting is worn off.
Yeah. Maybe I'm removed enough from Solo
at this
to
point,
be able to
it's
say
almost,
that.
I think, almost a year, so...
Yes.
But no, this film makes me feel nothing. It just makes me tired. Like, it doesn't... it does make... correct. It makes me sad. But it doesn't make me sad because it's a sad movie. It makes me sad that there are themes here that could have been explored.
Yeah.
That were allowed to languish and then also not wrapped up.
Yeah.
Again, I would have enjoyed a film about the continuation of Nazi influence into modern European politics. That would be fascinating for me. But this...
Yeah. So from what I can see, a lot of the movie's defenders do so on the grounds of the intense psychological relationship from when she checks into the hotel to when she completely reverts back. Did
you feel an intense psychological relationship?
I didn't. No, okay. I did not.
I'm just checking because I didn't.
I felt a guy who was seeing the object of his guilt want to eliminate that object of his guilt, and a woman who was remembering some terrible things that happened to her and then going back into them.
Right, and like I didn't get psychological
that's base
tension. Yeah, that's just
yes, it's psychological to an extent, but it's not psychological in any way that's interesting.
It's psychological in the same way that like a Wendy's training video is psychological. And that all things are psychological.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we should just abandon this one right now.
I think we need to.
It.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We don't like it.
We don't like it. If you want to think we're missing something, go ahead, but you're wrong.
You can become friends with Chill Bear.
Yes. Go to Criterion and figure out who Chill Bear actually is and
become his friend. He's probably graduated from university by now with his psychology major.
He probably is ashamed of that. Yes. He's either
and wishes there was a way to erase that. post.
In 2009, he was either a first-year film or psychology student.
Possibly art. Could be art.
Yes, possibly straight art. It's possible. But anyway, so he should have graduated by now, but more than likely he's either in grad school or working in a bakery.
So an artisanal bakery, let's be clear.
Yes, of course.
To be fair, I'm guessing grad school. Bakery. I think you're probably right.
Yeah. So you can go hang out with him.
It's also possible that Chill Bear might be dead. So we need to acknowledge that. And if you are...
Yes. God rest your soul, Chill Bear.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Anyway. So next week we'll be talking about Ingmar Bergman again with Autumn Sonata, 1978. Yeah.
We can give it another shot.
Yeah.
Try to do a good job this time.
Hopefully we'll do well with this one, because last time we talked about Ingmar Bergman, we failed completely. Well, we did not do justice.
No, we didn't. And that
we did. I don't want to say we failed completely, because having listened to the episode, we did all right.
But we could have done better. We've learned a lot since then. That there was one of the downfalls of having that film be so early on.
Yes.
In the collection.
And I think the fact that we were both sick.
Sick.
Didn't help.
We things were not good at the time.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Lost in Criterion again. Sorry that this was a rant about how terrible this movie was, and not even a very
Solo
long one.
Part 2.
Yeah.
As far as our ranting, but
so this movie tries to be Solo without achieving anything Solo did,
which is not saying a lot.
Which is not saying a lot. So yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Lost in Criterion, a production of With Two Brains. The show is hosted by Adam Glass and John Patrick Owatari Dorgan. Jonathan Hape did the music, and Adam Glass also edited it all together. Feel free to contact us by email via lostincriterion@withtwobrains.com or join us on the web at www.lostincriterion.com.